new service introduced from the mainland instead of spending this sum of money on national studies. The committee will now put to vote the amendments. The order of voting on the amendments, their contents and objectives are set out in the annex to the appendix to the script. Please refer to the annex for the contents and objectives. So for the movers, I would like to remind them that you need to spell out the number amendment without any need to mention the contents and objectives of the amendment. The committee will now proceed to deal with amendment number 2. It's the question, I put the question to you that the amendment moved by Mr. Chen Chi-chin earlier on be passed. With those in favor, Mr. Chen claims a division. The division bell will ring for 5 minutes. Mrs. Regina Ye? The speaker's not coming through. Chairman, I have to declare my interest as a member of the Executive Council. I won't vote on the amendment that proposes to cut the remuneration of Executive Council members. So I would remind the following members that they have interest to declare, including Mr. Martin Liu, Mr. Wong Kok-kin, Mr. Wong Kok-kin, you should excuse yourself. I've said it, but you were late in joining us.
開始表決。
Voting begins.
郭榮鏗議員，你是否
Mr. Dennis Kwok, would you like to vote? If there's no query, voting is now closed, and the result displayed: 20 FC members, 28 present, 1 for, 20 against, 5 abstentions. GC members, 25 present, 9 for, 11 against, 5 abstentions. The question, I think the question is not agreed by majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members. That is, those returned by FCs and those returned by GC through direct elections who are present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Lee. President, I move that in the event of further divisions being claimed at this meeting in respect of the amendments to the Appropriation Bill 2018, which the Council shall proceed to the division of the division bell, has rung for 1 minute. I now propose the question to you, and that is a motion moved by Mr. Lee be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? I think Dr. K.K. Kwok claims the division. The bell will ring for 5 minutes. Voting begins. Let's proceed to vote.
請核對所在表決。
Please verify your votes. If there's no query, the voting is now closed and result is displayed. What have you voted for? Please speak up. I would like to cast my vote again. I pressed the wrong button. What's the vote that you were supposed to have made? Please display the results, Clerk.
你而家係冇撳到掣嘅。
You haven't pressed the button. What would you like? What would you have voted? Please tell me. What would you have pressed? I'm for this amendment. Mr. James Toh, I'm also for.
主席，
梁耀忠議員，
Leung Yu Chung. I pressed the P, and then I'm not allowed to vote for or against the amendment. I've asked you to check your vote. I've already pressed the present button. You're for this amendment, right? Okay.
功能團體出席30位。
FC members 30 present, 24 no one against, 3 abstentions. GC members 26 for, 16 for, 9 against, 1 abstention. The question is agreed by majority respective of each of the 2 groups of members who are present. I declare the motion passed. I direct that in the event of a further division being claimed at this meeting in respect of the amendment to the appropriation bill, that the Council would proceed to the division after the division bell has rung for 1 minute. Dr. Kwokake, please move your amendment number 2. Chairman, I move the amendment number 2 be passed. The division bell will ring for 1 minute.
開始表決。
Please proceed to vote. Please check your vote. If there are no queries, voting shall not stop and the result will be displayed. FC members 30 present, 1 for, 22 against, 6 abstentions. GC members 27 present, 9 for, 14 against, 4 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by majority respectively of each of the 2 groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Raymond Chan, please move amendment number 3. Chairman, I move that amendment number 3 be passed. The division bell will be rung for 1 minute.
開始表決。
Members, please proceed to vote. Please check your vote. If there are no queries, voting shall now stop and the result will be displayed. FC members 29 present, 7 for, 21 against. GC members 27 present, 13 for, 14 against. I think the question is not agreed by majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Ra Kwong, please move amendment number 4. President, Mr. Kwong claims the division. Please proceed to vote. Please check your votes. If there are no queries, voting shall now stop and the results will be displayed. FC members 29 present, 7 for, 21 against. GC members 27 present, 13 for, 14 against. I think the question is not agreed by majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members who are present and declare the amendment negative. Mr. Raymond Chan, please move amendment number 5. I moved that the expenses on the Director General of Civil Aviation be slashed. Mr. Raymond Chan claims the division bell will be rung for 1 minute. Please proceed to vote. Please check your votes. If there are no queries, voting shall now stop and the result will be displayed. FC members 30 present, 2 for, 22 against, 5 abstentions. GC members 27 present, 9 for, 14 against, and 4 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Raymond Chan, you may now move amendment number 6. President, I move the amendment to cut the whole year pay for Director of Correctional Services. There is a claim for division. The division bell will be rung for 1 minute. Please proceed to vote. Please check your votes. If there are no queries, voting shall not stop and the result will be displayed. FC members 30 present, 2 for, 22 against, 5 abstentions. GEC members 27 present, 9 for, 14 against, 4 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members who are present. I think declare the amendment negative. Mr. Audok, please move amendment number 7. Chairman, I move that the expenses on upgrading the CCTV system for Big Oak Prison be slashed. The division bell will be rung for 1 minute. Please proceed to vote. Please check your votes if there are no queries. Voting shall not stop and the results will be displayed. FC members 31 present, 2 for, 22 against, 6 abstentions. GC members 28 present, 5 for, 14 against, 9 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Audok, please move amendment number 8. Chairman, I ask to slash the expenses for the replacing the communication system in the visitors' room of the penal institutions. A point of order, Chairman, can we be allowed the time to talk about our amendment? I don't think it's necessary. Mr. James Toe, Chairman. While people are following the live debate online and also the live broadcast of radio stations, and they are taking part in this. So if the people don't know what we are asking for in terms of the slashing the amount, can we be given the time to read out the amendment in full? Well, if you want to do that, that can be done in the 1 minute. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there are no queries, voting stops and the results will be displayed. FC members 31 present, 1 for, 23 against, 6 abstentions. GC members 28 present, 5 for, 14 against, 9 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Eddie G, please move amendment number 9. I move amendment number 9. Mr. Stephen Ho claims the division bell will be rung for 1 minute, and that is to slash an amount which is equivalent to the half the expenses of the Sustainable Lantau Office. Please proceed to vote. Please check your vote. If there are no queries, voting shall not stop and the result will be displayed. FC members 31 present, 2 for, 23 against, 5 abstentions. GC's members 28 present, 9 for, 14 against, 5 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by majority of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Raymond Chan, you may now move amendment number 10. Chairman, I move amendment number 10. Mr. Stephen Ho claims division. The bell will be rung for 1 minute. That is to ask to slash the estimates for the pay of the Director of Environmental Protection for the whole year, and that is the amount in the amount of $3.249 million. Please proceed to vote. Please check your votes. If there are no queries, voting shall now stop and the result will be displayed. FC members 31 present, 1 for, 23 against, 6 abstentions. GC members 27 present, 9 for, 14 against, and 4 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by a majority of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Gary Fan, you may now move amendment number 11. I move amendment number 11. I claim a division. The content is to slash the whole year estimates for the operating expenditures of the Southeast landfill under the Environmental Protection Department.
Please proceed to the vote. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. The results are displayed. From the FCs, 31 present, 1 for, 25 against, 4 abstentions. From the GCs, 28 present, 9 for, 14 against, 5 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Ray Chan, you may move number 12. I move that amendment number 12 be passed. Mr. Stephen Ho claims the division. The bell will be rung for 1 minute. To deduct the annual budget for the departments for recruitment of services and professional fees under OGO for 2018 to 19. Please proceed to the vote. Mr. Vincent Chang, would you like to vote? Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. The results are displayed. From the FCs, 31 present, 2 for, 24 against, 4 abstentions. From the GCs, 28 present, 9 for, 14 against, 5 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Ms. Al-Nakin, you may move amendment number 13. I move that amendment number 13 be passed. Mr. Stephen Ho claims the division. The bell will be rung for 1 minute.
to reduce the staff costs and department budget for 2018 to 19 for the FEHD Joint Office for Water Seepage. Please proceed to the vote. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. The results are displayed. From the FC's 32 present, 4 for, 26 against, 1 abstention. From the GC's 28 present, 11 for, 14 against, 3 abstentions. The question is not agreed by majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Ray Chan, you may move amendment number 14. I move that amendment number 14 be passed. Ms. Odenchild claims the division. The bell will be rung. To reduce the annual budget for the rent and management costs, except quarters for the government property agency for 2018 to 19. Please proceed to the vote. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. The results are displayed. From the FC's 31 present, 1 for, 23 against, 6 abstentions. From the GC's 28 present, 9 for, 14 against, 5 abstentions. The question is not agreed by majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Ms. El-Nokhin, you may move amendment number 15. I move that amendment number 15 be passed. Mr. Hodenchow claims the division. The bell will be rung for 1 minute. To reduce the budget for the 2018 to 19 Youth Mainland Internship Funding Scheme. Please proceed to the vote. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. The results are shown. From the FC's 31 present, 2 for, 22 against, 6 abstentions. From the GC's 28 present, 9 for, 14 against, 5 abstentions. The question is not agreed by majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Andrew Wan, you may move amendment number 16. I move that amendment number 16 be passed. Ms. Oden Chow claims a division. The bell will be rung for 1 minute. The amendment reduces the annual remuneration of Secretary for Home Affairs.
開始表決。
Voting begins. Please verify your votes. The results are displayed. From the FC's 32 present, 6 for 24 against 1 abstention. From the GC's 28 present, 14 for 14 against. The question is not agreed by majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Al-Nokhin, you may move amendment number 17. I move that amendment number 17 be passed. Ms. Odin Chow claims the division. The bell will be rung for 1 minute. The amendment resolves to reduce the budget for the 2018-19 International Youth Exchange Scheme.
開始表決。
Please proceed to the vote. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. The results are displayed. From the FC's 31 present, 1 for 23 against, 6 abstentions. From the GC's 28 present, 9 for 14 against, 5 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Ray Chen, you may move amendment number 18. I move that amendment number 18 be passed. I claim a division. A division is claimed to reduce the personal remuneration of the Communications and Creative Industries branch of the CEDB for 2018-19.
開始表決。
Please proceed to the vote. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. The results are displayed. From the FC's 31 present, 1 for 26 against, 3 abstentions. From the GC's 27 present, 9 for 15 against, 3 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Ray Chan, you may move amendment number 19. Chairman, I move that amendment 19 be passed. Mr. Stephen Ho claims a division. The bell will be rung. The amendment resolves to reduce the amount of $269.6 million, which is the budget for maintaining the Hong Kong section of the Hong Kong Macau Bridge by the Highways Department in 2018-19.
開始表決。
Please proceed to the vote. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. The results are shown. From the FC's 32 present, 2 for 24 against, 5 abstentions. From the GC's 27 present, 9 for 15 against, 3 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Ray Chan, you may move amendment number 20. I move that amendment number 20 be passed. Mr. Odin Chow claims the division. The vote will be rung for 1 minute. To reduce the annual budget for personal remuneration at the Immigration Department for 2018 to 19.
開始表決。
Please proceed to the vote. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. The results are displayed. From the FCs, 32 present, 1 for, 29 against, 1 abstention. From the GCs, 25 present, 4 for, 18 against, 3 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Ray Chan, you may move amendment number 21. I move that amendment number 21 be passed. Mr. Hu Jintao claims the division. The bell will be rung for 1 minute to reduce the annual budget for the remuneration on special appointments under the ICAC.
開始表決。
Please proceed to vote. Please verify your vote. If there's no query, voting is now closed and the result displayed. FC members 32 present, 5 for, 24 against, 2 abstentions. GC members 24 present, 11 for, 13 against. The question is not agreed by a majority respectively of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Lam Cheuk Ting, please move your amendment number 22. Chairman, I move the amendment number 22 be passed. Mr. Holden Chow claims the division. This is about a cut of the full year remuneration and allowances for the Commissioner of ICAC.
開始表決。
Please proceed to vote. Please verify your vote. If there's no query, voting is now closed and result displays. FC members 32 present, 6 for, 24 against, 1 abstention. GC members 26 present, 11 for, 15 against. The question is not agreed by a majority respectively of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Chen, Xi Jinping, please move amendment number 22. 93. I move that amendment number 33 be passed. Mr. Hu Jintao claims the division. This is about the cut of the full year expenditure on publicity by the Information Services Department.
開始表決。
Please proceed to vote. Please verify your vote. If there's no query, voting is now closed and the result displayed. FC members 42 present, 1 for, 23 against, 7 abstentions. GC members 26 present, 8 for, 14 against, 4 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority, respectively, of each of two groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Chen Chi-chun, please move amendment number 24. I move that amendment number 24 be passed. A division has been claimed. This is about the cut of the full year's remuneration of chief assessor of the ILD.
開始表決。
Please proceed to vote. Please verify your vote. If there's no query, voting is now closed and the result displayed. FC members 31 present, 2 for, 25 against, 3 abstentions. GC members 28 present, 8 for, 16 against, 4 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare amendment negative. Mr. Chen Chi-chun, please move amendment number 25. I move that amendment number 25 be passed. Mr. Houghton Chow claims the division. The division bell will ring for a minute. This is about cutting the full year expenditure on a salary of Invest Hong Kong.
開始表決。
Please proceed to vote. Please verify your vote. If there's no query, voting is now closed and the result displayed. FC members 32 present, 1 for, 25 against, 5 abstentions. GC members 28 present, 5 for, 16 against, 7 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by a majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Ho Luk Kim, please move amendment number 36. I move that amendment number 36 be passed. Mr. Houghton Chow claims the division. The amendment is about the cutting the Joint Office on Water Seepage staff costs and departmental expenditure for the year 2018 to 19.
開始表決。
Please proceed to vote. Please verify your vote. If there's no query, voting is now closed and result displayed. FC members 32 present, 5 for, 26 against. GC members 28 present, 9 for, 16 against, 3 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Chen Chi-Chin, please move amendment number 27. I move that amendment number 27 be passed. I claim a division. Mr. Holden-Chow claims a division. This is about cutting the expenditure on on salaries of personal emoluments of Labor Department staff. Please proceed to vote. Please verify a vote. If there's no query, voting is now closed and the result displays. FC members 31 present, 2 for, 28 against. GC members 28 present, 5 for, 19 against, 4 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Chen Chi-Chin, please move amendment number 28. I move that amendment number 28 be passed. Mr. Holden-Chow claims a division. This is about cutting the full year expenditure on salary of the Lands Department in respect of the 88 non-directory posts created to expedite land supply and land processing applications. Please proceed to vote. Please verify your vote. If there's no query, voting is now closed and the result displayed. FC members 31 present, 2 for, 27 against, 1 abstentions. GC members 27 present, 5 for, 19 against, 3 abstentions. I think the question is now agreed by majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare amendment negative. Mr. Chen Chi-Chin, please move amendment number 29. I move that number 29 be passed. Mr. Holden-Chow claims a division. This is about cutting the full year expenditure on salary of Secretary for Justice, the DPP, and also the full year's expenditure on salary of the constitutional branch of the legal policy division. Please proceed to vote. Please verify your vote. If there's no query, voting is now closed and the result displayed. FC members 31 present, 3 for, 23 against, 3 abstentions. GC members 25 present, 9 for, 14 against, 2 abstentions. I think the question is now agreed by a majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Chen Chi-Chin, please move amendment number 30. I move that amendment number 30 be passed. Mr. Holden-Chow claims a division. It's about cutting the total expenditure on litigations by the Secretary for Justice.
開始表決。
Please proceed to vote.
請核對所在表決。如果冇問題，
Please verify your vote. If there's no query, voting is closed and the result displays. FC members 32 present, 1 for, 24 against, 6 abstentions. GC members 26 for, 6 for, 15 against, 5 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Chen Chi-chin, please move amendment number 31. I move that amendment number 31 be passed. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division. This is about cutting the full-year expenditure on publicity of overseas ETOs.
Please vote. Please verify your vote. Please show the results. FC 29 present, 1 in favor, 23 against, 4 abstention. GC 25 present, 1 for, 15 against, 5 abstentions. I think the question is not agreed by the majority, respective of the two group members who are present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Hedichi, please move your amendment number 32. Mr. Holden Chow claimed division. To reduce the heading of the Planning Department Program 1 on the expenditure on the territory-wide planning of the $25 million. Please vote. Please verify your vote. Voting stop. Please show the results. And FC 31 present, 2 for, 14.4 against, 4 abstentions. GC 23 present, 6 for, 13 against, and 4 abstentions. 4 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority, respective of each two groups members who are present. I declare the amendment negatived. Ms. Hedichi, please move amendment number 33. I move the amendment number 33 be passed. Mr. Holden Chow claimed division to reduce the Planning Department consultancy expenses on Hong Kong 3030 Plus Sustainable Development Assessment on the commissioning of RHL surveyors.
開始表決。
Voting begins. Please verify your vote. Voting stop. Please display the results. GC 31 present, 3 present, 33 against, 4 abstentions. For GC 25 present, 9 for, 14 against, 2 abstentions. 2 abstentions. The question is not agreed by majority respective to two group members present. I declare the amendments negatived. Mr. Al-Hind, you may move amendment number 34. And Chairman, I move the amendment number 34 be passed. Mr. Holden shall claim division. The amendment is to reduce the non-directorate groups according to the midpoint salary of the whole year emolument expenditure. I remind members, please clip your microphone to you, otherwise it will be hard for the interpreters. Voting begins. Mr. Michael Tian, would you like to vote? Please verify your vote. Voting has stopped. Please show the results. For FC 31 present, 1 for, 24 against, 5 abstentions. For GC 25 present, 6 for, 13 favor, and 6 abstentions. The question is not agreed by majority of each of the two groups of members who are present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. James Cho, you may move amendment number 35. I would like to claim a division on amendment 35, which is reducing the capo annual operating expenditure. Voting begins. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. Please show the results. For FC, 31 present, 4 for, 24 against, 2 abstentions. For GC, 27 present, 12 in favor, 15 against, 0 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Ray Chen, you may move amendment number 35. I may move the amendment 35 be passed. Mr. Holden shall claim division as to reducing the annual holding budget of special services emoluments. I wonder if I can make an inquiry if Mr. Ray Chen amendment was negatived. I hope we can withdraw amendment number 37 because the amount is minute. You cannot able to amend, but you cannot move. You can withdraw the amendment. So I was speaking to the chairman. If amendment 35 is negative, then 37 will be withdrawn. Voting begins. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. Please show the results. FC 31 present, 5 for, 24 against, 1 abstentions. For GC 26 present, 12 for, 14 against, 0 abstentions. The question is not agreed by the majority of the two groups. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. James Cho withdraw amendment number 37. Mr. Ray Chen, you move amendment number 38. I may move the amendment number 38. Mr. Holijia claiming division to reduce the special purpose vehicles annual expenditure of $111 million. Voting begins. Please verify your vote. Voting is closed. Please show the results. FC 30 present, 5 for, 23 against, 1 abstentions. For GC 26 present, 12 for, 14 against, and 0 abstentions. The question is not agreed by the majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of the members. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Ray Chen, please move amendment number 39. I move the amendment number 39 be passed. To reduce the whole year present emolument of the Secretary of Innovation and Technology. Of $4.01 million. Voting begins. Please verify your votes. Voting has stopped. For FC 31 present, 4 for, 25 against, 1 abstentions. For GC 26 present, 9 for, 14 against, and 30 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority, respective of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Al-Lokhin, you may move amendment number 40. I move that amendment number 40 be passed. Mr. Holijia claim division is to reduce the equivalent estimate budget for the Innovation Technology Fund for a Better Living involving $110 million. Voting begins. Please verify your vote. Voting has stopped. FC 31 present, 2 present, 26 against, 2 abstentions. For GC 26 present, 9 for, 14 against, and 3 abstentions. The question is not agreed by the majority, respectively, of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Eddie Chi, please move amendment number 41. I move that amendment 41 be passed. Mr. Holden Chow claim division to reduce the 1 month salary of the Secretary of Environment to the amount of $335,100.
開始表決。
Voting begins. Please verify your vote. If there's no question, voting is closed. Please show the results. FC 31 present, 1 for, 25 against, 4 abstentions. For GC 26 present, 9 for, 14 against, 3 abstentions. I think question is not agreed by a majority respectively of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Ray Chen, you may move amendment number 42. I move the amendment number 42 be passed. Mr. Holden Chow claim division. Reducing the whole year person emolument of the Secretary for Development, as well as to reduce the budget for the increasing housing supply.
Voting begins. Members, please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting is closed. The results are displayed. From functional constituencies, 31 present, 1 for, 28 against, 1 abstention. From geographical constituencies, 28 present, 5 for, 19 against, 4 abstention. The question is not agreed by a majority, respectively, with each of the 2 groups of members present. The amendment is negatived. Mr. Ray Chan, please move amendment number 43. Mr. Holden Chow claims the division. This is to cut the personal emolument expenditure of the food branch of the Food and Health Bureau. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting is closed. The results are displayed. From functional constituencies, 30 present, 1 for, 27 against, 1 abstention. From geographical constituencies, 28 present, 4 for, 19 against, 5 abstention. The question is not agreed by a majority of, respectively, each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Ms. Dr. Helen Lena Wong, please move amendment number 44. Mr. Chairman, I move amendment number 44. Mr. Holden Chow claims the division. It is equivalent to the reduction of 1 month's salary for the Secretary for Food and Health. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting is closed. The results are displayed. From functional constituencies, 30 present, 2 for, 23 against, 4 abstention. From GCs, 28 present, 13 for, 15 against, no abstention. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Ray Chan, please move your amendment number 45. Mr. Chairman, I move amendment number 45. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division. This is to cut the personal emolument expenditure for the Labour and Welfare Bureau. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting is closed. The results are displayed. From FCs, 29 present, 1 for, 27 against, no abstention. From GCs, 27 present, 5 for, 18 against, 4 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendments negatived. Dr. Fernando Cheung is not present, so the committee will not deal with amendment number 46. Mr. Ray Chan, please move amendment number 47. Mr. Chairman, I move amendment number 47. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division to reduce the expenditure on national studies programs by the Civil Service Bureau, $23.7 million. Voting begins. Dr. Elizabeth Quat, do you wish to vote? Please check your vote. If there are no questions, voting is closed. The results are displayed. From functional constituencies, 30 present, 4 for, 24 against, 1 abstention. From geographical constituencies, 26 present, 9 for, 15 against, 2 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Eddie Chu, you may move amendment number 48. I move amendment number 48. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division to reduce the expenditure, half of the expenditure of the Beijing office, Guangdong ETO, Shanghai ETO, Chengdu ETO, and Wuhan ETO and their liaison officers. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting is closed. The results are displayed. From functional constituencies, 30 present, 1 for, 26 against, 2 abstentions. From geographical constituencies, 27 present, 9 for, 18 against. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Al-Nakhim, please move amendment number 49. Mr. Chairman, I move amendment number 49. Mr. Holden-Chow claims a division. The amendment is to reduce the equivalent of a one-off expenditure on removal for the 4 liaison officers of the mainland ETOs of the Constitution and Mainland Affairs Bureau. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting is closed. The results are displayed. From functional constituencies, 31 present, 2 for, 26 against, 2 abstentions. From geographical constituencies, 27 present, 6 for, 15 against, 6 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendments negatived. Mr. Ray Chan, please move. You may move amendment number 50. Mr. Chairman, I move amendment number 50. Mr. Holden-Chow claims a division. The amendment is to reduce an amount equivalent to the full year expenditure of the Financial Services Development Council as a grant under the Financial Services branch of the Financial Services and Treasury Bureau. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting is closed. The results are displayed. From FC, 31 present, 1 for, 27 against, 2 abstentions. From geographical constituencies, 27 present, 9 for, 15 against, 3 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Eddie Chu, you may move amendment number 51. I move amendment number 51. Mr. Holden-Chow claims a division. Resolve that an amount of $5 million be reduced from head 151 subhead 000, which is roughly equivalent to the drill expenditure of the Daya Bay contingency plan. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there are no questions, voting is closed and the results are displayed. From FCs, 30 present, 1 for, 26 against, 2 abstentions. From GCs, 26 present, 4 for, 18 against, 4 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Dr. Cheng Chung Tai, you may move amendment number 52. I move amendment number 52. Mr. Holden-Chow claims a division. Resolved that the full year's personal emoluments of the Secretary for Security be reduced.
開始表決。
Voting begins.
請核對所
Please check your votes. If there are no questions, then the results will be displayed. From the GC, 30 present, 1 for, 24 against, 4 abstentions. From the GC, 26 present, 8 for, 18 against, no abstention. I declare that as we do not have a majority of each of the two groups of members present agreeing, the motion is negative. Item 53, Ms. Claudia Mo. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division. I claim that first. You didn't say so.
請各位議員保持肅靜。
Please remain silent.
開始表決。
Voting begins.
請核對所就
Please check your votes. If there is no question, voting is closed and the result displayed. Those from FC 29 present, 4 for, 24 against. Those from the GC 27 present, 9 for, 15 against, 3 abstention. I think the question is not agreed by a majority respectively of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Ngao Lok Hin. Chairman, I claim a division for item 54. Is to resolve that the Curriculum Development Institute's budgeted expenditure for the Education Bureau in 2018-19 be slashed.
開始表決。
Voting begins.
請核對所
Please check your votes. If there is no question, voting is closed and the result displayed. Those from FC 29 present, 1 for, 25 against, 2 abstentions. Those from GC 27 present, 9 for, 15 against, 3 abstentions. The question is not agreed by majority respectively of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Dr. Chang Chong Tai, you may now move amendment number 55. I move amendment number 55. Mr. Chow Ho Ting claims a division is to slash an equivalent of the full year's emolument for the Secretary for Education for the entire year.
開始表決。
Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there is no question, voting is closed and the result displayed. Those from the FC, 28 present, 1 for 23 against, 3 abstentions. Those from GC, 27 present, 9 for 15 against, and 3 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Ted Hui, you may now move amendment number 56. I move amendment number 56. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division, and the amendment is to resolve that in developing the basic law, brainwashing, education, and teaching resources, full year expenditure is $320,000 be cut. Yes, Mr. Stephen Ho. The way Mr. Ted Hui was putting it would mislead the public. You should not have allowed him to say so. It's not fair. I'd like to remind members that I do allow you to read out from the appendix. Yes, voting begins. Please check your votes. If there is no question, then voting is closed and the result is displayed. Those from FC 27 present, 3 for, 22 against, 1 abstention. Those from GC 28 present, 13 for, 15 against. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Ngao Lok Hien, you may now move amendment number 57. Mr. Ngao Lok Hien. Chairman, I move amendment number 57. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division, and the bell will ring for 1 minute. The amendment is to resolve that for the Education Bureau's budgeted expenditure for secondary and primary schools for the pilot scheme to promote promoting interflows between sister schools in Hong Kong and the mainland be cut. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there is no question, voting is closed and the result is displayed. Those from FC 29 present, 2 for, 25 against, 1 abstention. Those from GC 28 present, 9 for, 15 against, 4 abstention. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Ngao Lok Hien, you may now move amendment number 58. Chairman, I move amendment number 58. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division and is to resolve that an equivalent of 2018-19, the Airport Coordination Office budgeted expenditure be cut. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there is no question, voting is closed and the result is displayed. Those from FC 29 present, 26 against, 2 abstention. Those from GC 27 present, 6 for, 15 against, 6 abstention. The question is not agreed by majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Ray Chen, you may now move amendment number 59. Chairman, I move amendment 59. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division is to resolve that for the Development Bureau Works Branch, Policy Area 5, Government Internal Services staff personal emolument be cut. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there is no question, voting is closed. Those from FC, 29 present, 25 against, 3 abstentions. Those from GC, 28 present, 6 for, 15 against, 7 abstention. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Ray Chen, you may now move amendment number 60. Chairman, I move amendment number 60. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division is to resolve that the Rating and Valuation Department's rates rebate leaflet attached to the demand note on rates budgeted expenditure be cut. The amount is $480,000. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there is no question, voting is closed and the result is displayed. Those from FC, 29 present, 2 for, 24 against, 2 abstentions. Those from GC, 28 present, 9 for, 15 against, 4 abstention. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Mr. Ngao Nok Hin, you may now move amendment number 61. Chairman, I move amendment number 61. Mr. Holden Chow claims a division. Chairman, is to resolve that for the 2018-19 registration and electoral offices budgeted expenditure for verifying voters' registration innovation be slashed. Voting begins. Please check your votes. If there is no question, voting is closed and the results will be displayed. Those from FC, 29 present, 1 for, 27 against. Those from GC, 29 present, 4 for, 20 against, 5 abstention. The question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negatived. Financial Secretary, please move amendment number 62. Chairman, I move amendment number 62. And the motion is that amendment 62 moved by the FS be passed. So the bell will be rung for.
請各位支持。
Please do support that.
開始表決。
Voting begins. Members, please check your votes. If there's no question, voting is closed. The results are displayed. 54 present, 48 for, 4 against, 1 abstention. The question is agreed by majority of each of the 2 groups present. I declare the amendment passed. Financial Secretary may move amendment number 63. And I may move the amendment number 63 to implement the care and share scheme. And I put a question to you that amendment number 63 moved by the FSB passed. Mr. Ray Chan claimed for division. The bell will be rung for 1 minute.
開始表決。
Voting begins. Please check your votes. If the no question voting is closed, the results displayed. 52 present, 48 for, 2 against, 1 abstention. The question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the amendment passed. Mr. Ray Chen, you may move amendment number 64. I move that amendment number 64 be passed. And Mr. Holden Chow's claim division is to equivalent of the recurrent expenditure of the public transport subsidy scheme by the Transport Department.
開始表決。
Voting begins.
請核對所在表決。
Please check your votes. If there are no question, voting is closed. Result displayed. For FC 29 present, 2 in favor, 24 against, 2 abstentions. For GC 29 present, 4 20 against, and 5 abstentions. The question is not agreed by majority respectively of each 2 groups of members present. The amendment is negative. Mr. Rachel, please moved the amendment number 65. I move the amendment number 65 be passed. Mr. Sheldon Chow claim division is to slashing the agents and fees on the budget expenditure on the Treasury.
開始表決。
Voting begins.
請核對所在表決。如果冇問題，以後停止表決，顯示結果。
No question. Voting is closed. Result displayed. So for FC 28 present, 0 for 24 against 3 abstentions. For GC 28 present, 7 for 16 against 5 abstentions. The question is not agreed by majority respectively of 2 groups members who are present. The amendment is negatived. Ms. Alloching may move amendment number 66. I move that amendment number 66 be passed. That would be slashing the equivalent budget expenditure on conferences by UGC, RGC, and QAC.
開始表決。
Voting begins.
請核對所
Members, please check your vote. If there are no question, voting is closed. Result displayed. For the FC 28 present, 1 for 26 against, 0 abstentions. For GC 28 present, 9 for 15 against, and 4 abstentions. The question is not agreed by the majority of each 2 groups of the members who are present. I declare the amendment negatived. Mr. Carafan, you may move amendment number 67. I moved amendment number 67 be passed and claim division. Slashing to the equivalent of the Water Services Department budget expenditure for procuring potable water.
開始表決。
Voting begins. Please check your vote. If no question, voting is closed. Result displayed. For FC 28 present, 1 for 26 against, 0 abstentions. For GC 28 present, 5 for 16 present, 7 abstentions. The question is not agreed by a majority, respectively, of each 2 groups members present. I declare the amendment negatived. The committee has completed voting on the amendments to 46 heads. We will now proceed to the 3rd session to deal with the remaining proceedings. The committee will proceed to a joint debate.